pay their share. Well, that isn't happening. Doesn't happen at all. I have no knowledge of it ever happening. But I can't go and show you every school they've built in recent history. But what I do want to do is I want to show you 4 good examples. Now, as I show you the examples, the first thing is I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the big excuse, okay? So that you'll have heard it here first, and we like to call this the party line. So when you're talking to a school board member, they're going to repeat this party line right away. And in order to explain how that works, I've selected these rather 4 rather carefully. So the first school is Centennial High School, and Centennial High School was built back in 98 or 99. And the reason why we chose that one way back in distant history is that we can now track if any of that money ever came back to the school district, what percentage of the money for the installation of all those utilities was actually repaid to the district. Or was that development money that was supposed to go to schools used to help developers, property developers? We all know they were hurting back in 89 and 90, so the school district could pay an extra few $100,000 so that, you know, people who are developing commercial property or subdivisions for residences could have the use of the roads that the district paid for out of school bond money for nothing. Or then the next one we went to is Cram Elementary School. Cram Elementary School, just like 3 of these schools, built literally out in the middle of nowhere, a very bad land planning process. The school district had many, many years to project where they were going to need schools, to build schools, after the city reached out to them fairly close. But they didn't. They bungled the planning process, and so they found themselves in a situation where they're 1 or 2 miles from the nearest utility connection, and so they had to bring roads and utilities out to them. This problem still goes on today. They recently had to pay an extra $1 million to resite a school because of the same bungling that went on in 98-99 on Centennial. So Cram is a little bit more recent school. It's a middle school, so middle and high school is just a couple of examples, but kind of the same thing, building, you know, roads and infrastructure off the school property that would normally be expected to be built by private profit-making entities or by public utilities or by the county, but not with school bond money. And then the argument is always going to be, well, these little land bungles, which is another problem. We can talk about land shenanigans in another video. But assuming that it's just an honest mistake, that they just miscalculated when the city was going to be out to them and they weren't able to connect to a sewer line or a water main out in the street that already existed, we are going to go to the Jacob E. Manch Elementary School. Jacob E. Manch has been surrounded by civilization for years. And what they decided to do is they decided to spend $500,000 to build what amounts to a regional detention pond. They had a big ditch out in back of the school that was moving a lot of water through it when there was a hard rain. It had been functioning fine, working okay, no problems at all with it. When the school went to remodel, the county would not authorize the remodeled buildings to connect to sewer and water until the school district agreed to put in this regional detention facility. Now, it's being called a concrete swale or a drainage ditch that's concrete lined, but they've increased the capacity of it to hold additional water. And the water that's going into it is the water that's going from adjacent streets primarily. So we've built this big concrete thing that replaces a non-concrete line drainage ditch that was working just fine, spent $500,000 worth of school money, which would have built a nice building or remodeled a building very nicely, on something that contributes absolutely zero to education. Now, I have no problem with building a regional drainage facility. I don't mind it at all. I think that there's a public entity in charge of doing that, and I think that public entity does a good task for the public, a good public service by building those kind of things. My objection is that this project was almost canceled several times because of not having adequate funding. I see a lot of schools being built substandard, particularly in neighborhoods like this one, and then I see $500,000 that if the client was a regular commercial developer and say he had a retail center and he didn't want to, he just wanted to remodel it and change things around a little bit, comparably to what we've done with the school, then that developer would fight this cause like a tiger, and he would go get attorneys and sue and fight to the death over $500,000 being taken out of his pocket. But because it's the school district and because of the way they handle things, it's easy come, easy go, $500,000 wasted for nothing. And that money comes out of the money, which we are then told there is not enough of to repair schools, upgrade schools, give teachers the kind of facilities that they need. So there are the 4 schools. Rhodes Ranch High School, Cram, Centennial, and Jacob E. Manch Elementary School. Thank you.